So on to the second part of this Nerf gun. This is the high resolution model, and I'm just continuing creating all the smaller details. Here I'm gonna create the holes for the barrel, and I do the same thing as I do with most of the models. I delete half and then apply a mirror modifier. And here I'm going to make an inset and then shape it to the hole. And I will also use bevels to make sure that I get a nice round hole. It's a little bit tricky because it's on a curved surface, but as long as you're careful, it's not that hard. So you see here, I'm gonna select those edges, and then just run a bevel on those. You see the normals are a little bit wonky, so I select those edges and then just set them to be hard, and that solves that problem. And here you see we have all these other holes, and the simple solution is just to select the ones that we already made and then just copy them over and reuse. Every time you can reuse parts of your model, you totally should, because modeling is time consuming. You don't have to be precious about it. And here we go. Now I'm going to show you another example of using the knife project. So here I create that cylinder, and I just shape it out and then use it as a cutting object for the face that is underneath. So there you see, I get those edges on that object, and then just push them back in. So that gives me a brilliant starting point for just shaping in this edge that I'm having here. And I'm just using the basic knife tool and then vertex sliding to just create what I need. I use vertex sliding and edge sliding absolutely all the time. So I have my own custom hotkeys for all those sort of operations, since I use them so often. And here I'm going to show you a good way of kind of just drawing out the basic shape, and it's with the Alt D. It's the tool is called Extend Vertices, and the way it works, it's maybe a little bit confusing when you use it the first time. It takes the mouse position of the selected. It extends the selected vertice, and it does it by extending to the left or the right, depending on where your mouse is positioned. And here you see I do the same thing as I've done a few times before. I just quickly cut in the interior shape, and then I'm using the inset to quickly get that shape, and then just push it out. Oh yeah, and here you see I'm selecting all those edges and setting the bevel weights, and with the bevel modifier, which is something that I do on almost all objects. All the objects except the handle. And here you see I just select all those polygons and then inset, but outwards. There's an option for that in the standard inset tool. And here we go with the site. This time I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm creating just that circle and then just filling in the faces in between. This time because I was working from only the side view image, I misunderstood a little bit what the shape actually was. I thought it was a cylinder on both sides of that thing, but it's only on one side, so I just deleted the other. And here you see I'm using that circle that I have, and then creating this other inset, this other shape, and then just filling in the faces in between. And as I said, you don't have to be very clean with this model. This is only going to be used for baking purposes. So n-gons and triangles and all that sort of stuff is perfectly fine. You really don't have to worry about it. The only thing I care about is having geometry that is easy for me to manipulate and work with. And there you go. So here I'm doing the same thing as before. I'm selecting all these edges and setting the bevel weight. And I actually have a hotkey for doing that, so it goes a little bit faster. And here's the last little part. I am using the knife tool just to cut through, and then I will take those cuts and bevel them and create the starting point for this end piece. And yeah, this one is a very, very simple detail. This sort of stuff is so simple to do. You just cut in what you need of the edges, and then here I'm doing just the vertex bevel, and you can easily select the edges and just bevel them, or you just use the inset like I'm doing here. I tend to use the same tools over and over again. Inset is just happens to be one of my favorite tools, so that's what I tend to use. So there you go. Very simple, and as usual, select all the edges and then set the bevel weight. And here I'm also setting the auto smooth on the object itself. So the last thing I will do is create the magazine. This one is very straightforward. Do the exact same process as with most of the other things here. I'm cutting in the basic shapes based off the reference image, and I'm doing that on a flat surface, and then I will push it in afterwards. And here you see, again, I'm using one of my favorite tools, the inset, just to create that little edge. And you see here that these lines that I'm creating, they are separate geometry. There's no reason for me to merge that into the actual object. If you can totally just use separate geometry. This, as I said before, this is only going to be used for baking. It really does not matter. And here I'm going to very simply just copy that polygon and then select one of the edges or one of the vertices and use the extend weight tool, the Alt-D. Here I'm not being so careful. I should be careful with where my mouse is positioned because of course it extends based off your mouse position. And there you go.